Hello and welcome to the Steel City Man channel. And this is the first of the Random Rants. Pretty mild rant really, not a lot's happened this week to upset me. But the one big thing is, well, there were two things really that kind of hissed me off a little bit. The first one was, one day last week we went out to a pub, me and my wife and my sister and her husband, Kath and Mike. We went out for a pub meal. It was very nice, you know, a good meal, good pub grub. And then we went into the larger room, which was a bit cooler, after the meal for a drink. And after we'd been there about 10 minutes, a family came and sat down at the next table. Got 3 kids. Very noisy. They brought a pile of Lego and building blocks with them and they were making a right row. It was absolutely ringing my ears. And if there's one thing I cannot stand, is going to a pub for a meal or a drink and having loads of kids running around making a row. Kids should not be allowed in pubs unless it's a family room. This wasn't a family room. You couldn't enjoy a pint of beer, a proper conversation with the people you were with, because these kids were that noisy. And the parents were just as bad. God, they were shouting and laughing at top of their voices. Sure, they were having a good time. But pubs should have family rooms where you can take your kids and make a noise, do anything you want, run around screaming, out of control, and leave the beer drinkers and conversationalists alone. It really gets right up my nose, that. Children, young children, should not be allowed in pubs. You shouldn't be bringing young children in pubs anyway, setting a bad example. That proper annoys me. The second thing that really annoyed me, and this happened, well, it's been happening for the last week or so. I don't know if you've been following me, but if you have been, you probably heard that I'm trying to build an overhead rig for my camera, so I can shoot overhead shots for my Technobabble channel, demonstrating equipment, etc. The design I've chosen to copy off YouTube is made up of very cheap PVC piping, so to just slot it together, straight bits with elbow joints, and it took me over a week to find a 4-way joiner. The tubing I've chosen to use is 32mm, because it's a little bit stronger than, a little bit more robust than the 20mm that this design said to use. I could imagine with a DSLR on it, it would sort of sag and be a little bit bouncy. So I chose 32mm. Could I get a 4-way joiner? Could I, Ella's like? I finished up having to get, I got a 4-way joiner, like a cross piece, but I had to get it at 50 mils. That's 20 mils wider than I wanted it. That's the only one I could get. I've been on the web, I've been everywhere, and the only thing I could get in this country was the 50mm pipe. So I had to purchase on top of that 4 reducers to plug into the ends of the 50mm to get it down to 32mm, which is just adding weight to it, and that's going to even make it sag a little bit more, I think. So I settled for that, and then all I wanted was a 1/4 inch flat-headed bolt with 20 threads per inch. That's the old imperial way of measuring them. as commonly known as a 1/4 inch bolt, and then you say the length of it, which is 3/4 of an inch, and the amount of threads per inch. So it would be called a 1/4 inch bolt, 3/4 by 20. And basically that 20 threads per inch is the little tripod mount size on the bottom of your camera. Could I get one to fit the camera? Could I? I was like, 2 weeks I've been trying to get a 1/4 inch bolt with 20 threads per inch. It seems that, yeah, alright, we went metric some years ago. Nobody that sells nuts and bolts nowadays understands what, what a 1/4 of an inch is, 5mm. But nobody could understand this inches bit. So every store I went to, I said I wanted a 1/4 inch bolt. Oh, hang on, we don't do that, we only do metric. All right, so I showed them the thread that I wanted. I said, I want a bolt to fit in this hole in the bottom of my camera. Oh, I don't know. I said, well, can't I open one of these packets and try it? Oh no, you can't do that, you've got to buy the packet and then try it. And they don't sell single bolts. You've got to buy a packet of 20 with the nuts and washers. I said, I don't want the nuts, I don't want the washers, I just want one bolt. Oh no, you can't open a packet for one bolt. Well, I'll get a bit hot under the collar. I've been to every DIY shop, B&Q, Home Base and everywhere else. I've even been to Screwfix that brag that they sell everything. Well, they don't sell 1/4 inch bolts, I'll tell you that now. And if I did, I'd have to buy a box of 20. So a kind guy that were in crowd in the queue that I were holding up asking for this 1/4 inch bolt, he taps me on the shoulder and says, there's a shop in village just down the road that sells nuts and bolts. They're a specialist fasteners company. So he told me where they were and I went down there and I says to him, I want a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch flat-headed bolt by 3/4 by 20. So what do you mean? Oh, I said I want a 1/4 inch. He said we only do metric. So I said, have you got a conversion chart? So he looked on his conversion chart. So yeah, 5mm. Oh yeah, we can do that. I said, Brad, I want 20 threads per inch. Well, I don't know that, we only sell standard stuff. So then an older guy came, he says, oh, I know what you mean, 20 threads per inch, I'll have a look. Anyway, finished up, he was looking it back for about 15 minutes and he came out with one nut and bolt. So I tried it in my camera and it fit. Not 100%, but it was near enough. He says, the problem is, he says, all we carry is Whitworth threads or metric. So I said, anyway, it was near enough. So although it's not 100% a good fit, it is a little bit of a loose fit. When I nip it up with a sort of tightening nut, should be alright. But my goodness, it's like 3 weeks I've been trying to find a piece of plastic tubing and a 1/4 inch nut and bolt. It's took me 3 weeks to find it. And nobody, except this one guy at Steel City, what do they call it? Steel City Fasteners, Steel City Fasteners, I think, in Chapeltown. Nobody but this old guy that remembered the old imperial measurements could help me out. All these young ones are totally metric, anything other than metric, they haven't got a clue. It's quite annoying really. Nobody seems to be passing these old skills on, and there's still lots and lots of machinery and other stuff that still uses stuff that ain't metric. They're still using the same imperial measurements that they were made with years and years ago. This world's coming to. Nobody understands metric anymore. But now I've finished ranting about that, I'd just like to thank all the 120 subscribers to this channel. Thank you so much for that. It's a real milestone in my YouTube career. I did a blog some time ago entitled something like is it going to be a glittering career on YouTube and Hollywood? Well, 120 subs. I'm getting there, thank you very much. Due in no small measure to the documentary that Harrison Fletcher made, which featured me amongst others, called The 70-Year-Old Vlogger. Check it out, details down below. It's a good laugh, hope you enjoy it. And I've had 4,786 views, coming up to 5,000 views. I'm just over the moon. It's brilliant. What an amazing community YouTube is. It is just absolutely brilliant. So, well, that's my little rant for this week over. A walk a mile in my shoes will follow shortly within the next days. Hopefully the podcast will go out this coming Sunday, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be on a new channel, details below again, the podcast channel. I would like that, whether to include it in this channel, but I thought no, I'll have a dedicated channel to the podcast, and podcast lovers can use that and video watchers can use this. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, very much appreciated. And if you like it that much, you can subscribe. And don't forget, if you subscribe, ring the bell, then you can tell when I'm uploading again. Okay, thanks very much folks, have a nice day, catch you later.